Today I want to show you how to crochet a skirt in Pineapple Stitch, and you asked for it to be nice and slow, so this is going to be a long video. Let's do this! The yarn I'm using is this, and it's yarn for crocheting. And the difference between this and normal cotton yarn is that it's a little bit tighter woven. It's about 420 meters per 100 grams, which just means that it's really small. It's a very tiny thread. It's for a 2.5 millimeter hook, and that's what I'm going to use too. And it's 100% cotton, so it's going to be easy to wash. When you see this strand, you'll see that it's very tight, and this is normal cotton yarn. So when you compare this to the crochet yarn, you can see that it's smaller, and it gives us a better stitch definition, which makes all of the lace parts really pretty. So start by making a slip knot, and then we're going to chain 8. Now you're going to hold the 8th stitch and then chain 3. Now make a double crochet into the stitch you just held. And now we're just going to do 1 double crochet into each stitch. So as you can see right now, we're doing the lining, and we're going to just do a band first, and then afterwards we're going to make the rest of the skirt come down from that. And I'm just going to show you a little trick to getting the lining to have straight edges, where otherwise you might get, if you just crochet back and forth, you might get rows that are sort of staggered. Is that what it's called? They don't line up and they're not straight. They just sort of look as if they are placed on top of each other, but skewed a little bit to each side every time. So now I'm at the end here, and I'm just going to chain 3 to turn. Now going back, this is the first part of the making the edges straight. We want to crochet into our chain 3 at the beginning. Therefore, we need to not do a double crochet into the stitch that our chain 3 is coming out of. If we do that, we're going to increase every row if we are working in this stitch and we're going into the chain, then we're going to increase. But if we skip this, it will give us a little bit of a hole, but it'll be better, in my opinion anyway. So we skip this and go into the next one, and then just do 1 double crochet in each stitch until you get to the end. And you can see here that the stitch definition is really great in this yarn, and it's not that pretty when we're trying to do fabric in the way we're doing right now, but it will be really good when we get to the lace part. So here we see this is the very last stitch. I'm just going into this, and then I have a kind of a round part at the end, which is my chain, and I'm just going into the 3rd chain and then finishing a double crochet. And I'm sorry for going out off screen. It was, yeah. But we'll finish that and then chain 3 and go back. Now I'll show you this one more time, just to be sure that you know what to do. Because the very first row is of course a little bit different than the other rows, because we are starting with all of the things that are worked into the chain. Now, to figure out how many rows back and forth you're going to need, please look at the pattern. But basically, you are counting every time you're doing a row. You're counting it as 2 stitches, which goes towards the lace part. So basically, we're going to pick up stitches when we're done, and we're going to pick up 2 stitches for every for every double crochet. So here we are when I've worked in the last stitch, and as you can see here, this sort of sticks out at one side, and then when we get to the other side, I am going to have one that sticks out in the other direction. And this can be pretty, of course, if you want that look, but personally I wanted this to just be straight, and therefore I'm going to just work into this last one. And of course, when I'm turning now, I'm going to skip the stitch which my chain is going to come out of. Yeah. I'm going to finish doing this until I have the long piece, and I'm not going to show you all of it because it was really long, but I'm just going to return with this. And you can see that that took quite a while. Now, I actually chose the smaller size. There is a repeat in the pattern, and I think it's 73 stitches, and of course you can do it wider and then just put some elastic into it in order for it to fit you. But the crocheted part is always going to be bigger when you wear it. It sort of molds, if you will, as you wear it. And therefore, I would suggest that you go for the smaller one rather than going as big as possible. Unless, of course, you just want to have some elastic in it, and then that might make it easier to wear also. So it's really up to you. Now, I also included some smaller pieces in the pattern. So if you need just a little bit for it to fit you, you can add a piece that just has the fans on it, or you can add a piece that just has a pineapple on it, and that is going to hopefully make it easier for it to fit you, but it's also going to make it harder for me to actually give you a specific pattern for your size. So you can follow this that I have made, and you will have the exact size that I have, and you will have an exact repeat, but it's really up to you what you do. And of course, if you adapt the pattern, it is going to be much harder for me to help you. And you can really see the stitch definition here in the large piece. And yeah, I wouldn't recommend this for like a big blanket or anything. It's going to be very holey. But for a lace blanket, I would always prefer this thread, because it just makes it so pretty. And it's hard to see perhaps on the camera, but it's so shiny too. It's really a gorgeous yarn. So now we're going to make the lining into a round, and I am just going first through the piece on the front, then on the back, then I am yarning over and going back through it, and then I am finishing my single crochet. I will do that all the way across, and of course I am trapping my tail thread from when I began too, because I hate working in ends, and this is just easier. You don't have to do that if you prefer not to. It's sometimes a little bit difficult when you're a beginner and you have to juggle all of those different stitches and the tail thread, but I think it helps me. Now, there isn't I should have said that earlier, but there isn't a front and a back when you work back and forth, so don't worry that you're perhaps choosing the wrong side to be out. So as I said, there are 2 stitches on each double crochet. So in here I am going to make 2 single crochet around the double crochet post. And I'm just basically skipping the base of the stitch, if you will, and then I'm working around the post. And it looks like this. And this is basically how I could count how many stitches I was going to have, because every time you can basically see the different rows when you're working in double crochet, and you can just count 2 for every row, and then you'll know how many stitches you have. When you get back to the beginning, just do a slip knot into the very first double crochet you made. It might be really tight, but it's going to be in there somewhere. So here we are, we have finished the lining, and perhaps at this point just try it on, make sure you can get it on and figure out if it's too big or too small. So we're going to proceed with round 1, and I am going to start by chaining 3, and then in the same stitch I am going to do a double crochet. Then I will chain 1, and then I'm going to do 2 double crochet into the same stitch again. So this is what I'm calling a fan, just to be sure that you know what I'm talking about. A fan is just 2 double crochet, a chain 1, and then a 2 double crochet, and it looks like this little shell, or sorry, this little shell or fan. Now chain 3 and then skip 3 on the base chain or your lining. So into the 4th stitch, you're again going to do a fan. So 2 double crochet, a chain 1, and then 2 double crochet. All in the same stitch, of course. Now do the same again. You're going to chain 3, and now we're going to start our pineapple. And I made a mistake here. I just counted to 4, and then I was going to go into that, but really I need to count to 5, and then I need to go into the sixth, because we're going to skip first 3 for the chain 3 that we did, and then we're going to skip 2 because our double crochet is basically going to lie down on the lining, if that makes sense. So we're going to here, and then we're going to do the bottom of a pineapple, and that is 10 double crochet into the same stitch. And if you can get it to still be sort of tight when you're done, that will be great, that'll look better. Mine always stretch really, really big, but it will be better if you can keep it intact, if you will. So that was 8, and then 9, and 10. And then do a chain 3 to move to the next one. And look at these 5 that I skipped. It looked really big, I think, when I skipped them to begin with, but now it's the gap has sort of disappeared. Now again, I am going to skip 5, and into the 6th stitch I am going to do another fan. So 2 double crochet, a chain 1, and then a 2 double crochet in the same stitch. And this is going to be the entire repeat for the first round. You're just going to be continuing this until you get to the end. And if you do have too many or too few at the end, just do fans rather than trying to fit in some pineapples. Really, you need 3 fans, then a pineapple, and then another 3 fans. So if you get to the end here and you can get in as you can see that I have a fan in the last. No, you can't see that. I am blocking it with my hand. But I have a pineapple and then a fan, so that my beginning of my round is the same. Now for round 2, we are going to start by slip stitching into the middle of this fan. So I'm just going into the middle here. And this is because we really want to work in the middle of the fan. We want to work around the chain 1 rather than in the stitches of it. So chain 3 and then do a fan. So that will be a chain 1. No, sorry, a 1 double crochet, because our chain 3 is our first double crochet. Then do chain 1 and then do 2 double crochet into, all of this is into the middle of the previous fan. Now across this chain 3, bridge I would call it, we're also going to chain 3. And then in the next one, you're going to do a fan on top of this fan. So 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet. Now chain 3. Skip the chain 3 on the previous, and then we're going to start working on our pineapple bottom. Now start by making a double crochet into the first stitch. And because we're working in the round, the stitch will be before the post. Not after it and not on top of it, it's going to be a little bit before it. And I think I went into the next stitch here, so I'm just going to do it again. No. 1 double crochet, then you're going to chain 1. Then you're going to do a double crochet into the next stitch. Chain 1. Double crochet into the next stitch. Chain 1. And we're going to continue this all the way across the pineapple bottom. So double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And you should have 10 because you should have 10 double crochets, sorry. And then you should have 9, I think, spaces in between chain spaces. And it's going to look like this, and at this point your fabric is probably going to start ruffling, but it will straighten out as we continue. Now chain 3 to get to the next fan. Skip the chain 3 on the previous round and then do a fan on top of the fan that you have on the previous round, meaning 2 double crochet, chain 1, and then 2 double crochet. So here we are, this is round 2. And of course you're going to repeat this, so in the next 2 fans you're going to make a fan, and then in the pineapple bottom you're going to do what you do with the pineapple bottom at round 2, and then you're going to do a fan also on top of the next fan. And in between all of the symbols on this pattern, you are going to do just a chain 3. This is why I call them bridges, because they're sort of all of the little symbols are little islands, and then in between them you have your bridges, which gets you from one symbol or island or fan or whatever you want to the next one. And because this was the first sort of kind of difficult thing in this pattern, I'm just going to show you again, just to make sure that you have a good idea of what it is you're going to be doing. So here we are again. Do a double crochet into the first stitch on your pineapple bottom, then a chain 1, a double crochet into the next one, and so on. And basically what we're aiming at is making our pineapple bottom bigger, and then afterwards, on every round from here on, this pineapple is going to be smaller and it's going to taper into the middle. To get to the next fan, chain 3, and then go and do what you do with a fan. When you get back to the beginning, you're going to slip stitch into the the first chain 3 that you did, and then you're going to slip stitch into the middle of the first fan, so that we can continue with round 3. Here again, you're going to do a fan on top of your fan. So 2 double crochet, chain 1, and then 2 double crochet. Now chain 3 and skip the bridge underneath. And now do a fan in the next fan too. And now you're going to chain 3 to get to your pineapple. And the important thing here is that you don't work in the chain 3 that got you to the pineapple. It's important that you work into the... I'm just going to get you a little bit closer so you can see something. It's important that you work into the chain spaces between your double crochets that are actually in the pineapple. So you go into this space and then do 1 single crochet. Now chain 3. And then do a single crochet in the next chain space on your pineapple. Chain 3, and then do a single crochet into the next space. And it might be a little bit confusing in the pattern because we are talking about there are chain 3s before the pineapple and there are chain 3s in the pineapple, but it's really important that you separate them. So if they're in the pineapple, they are different than the bridges that gets us to the pineapple, if you will. So this is our chain 3 space for the last chain 1 space on the previous round. And now we're going to chain 3 in order to get onto the next fan on the other side. So when you hear me talking about the chain 3 spaces in the pineapple, those are basically the little round ones that are actually in the pineapple. They are after the double crochet that we did on the previous round. And when I talk about the bridge, or the chain 3 that got us to the pineapple, I am talking about the chain 3 that is behind the first double crochet which our pineapple is made of. And this is where sorry, this is where the pineapple is going to be, and it's going to taper from here. Now this was a really long video and I'm really sorry, but we're going to have to do the rest of this next week. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again next Friday.